There are 6 major things that I have gained from high school that I never read from a textbook, but had to figure out on my own. Each one makes up each side of the box that you have in front of you, representing the attributes of a high school senior excited to move on to a new chapter, college. The first one is education. Entering high school, I was excited for the change of scenery. My classes were more rigorous and demanding, which made me want to not only impress my teachers, but prove to myself that I was capable of being a competitive student in the International Baccalaureate program. I quickly came to the realization that learning more instilled in me the tremendous power of curiosity which shaped me into the person I am today. The next square is health. I firmly believe that balance is a key component of life that is frequently overlooked. My generation sees a lot of posts, hashtags, or tweets about being your best self and working hard, or often the exact opposite, displayed in a meme about how incredibly lazy we supposedly are. I think there is a balance between physical and mental health. Being able to love working out your body to get your mind off of stressful thoughts is so important, especially with all of the stimulating screens we are surrounded with that put pressure on our thoughts. Whether this be walking your dogs, going full beast mode at the gym to get your muscles moving, having another activity that doesn't work out the body is equally important. For me, that's knitting. It allows me to focus on my fingers weaving in and out of the needles and yarn, which lets me decompress on long days. After all, there is a reason it is called happy medium rather than confused sad medium. Flipping over to the third side is service. Going into high school, I found out that I was required to do 100 service hours in my freshman and sophomore year, and admittedly, I was a little intimidated and not all that excited at the prospect. I had no idea why we had to do so many hours, where I would even have the time, or what I would do to get those hours. Little did I know my younger brother would guide me through this process and open my eyes to the underlying struggles people face. When I was 5 years old, my 2-year-old brother, Laws, was diagnosed with autism. Growing up with him, through his therapy and unique obsessions, flourished a protective older sister bond and an intimate nature that I would not trade for the world. Jumping into the community service aspect of high school made me realize most of my service opportunities have been guided around helping people. By volunteering our time, we get the gift of experiencing a piece of others' lives, including the difficulty and hardships. Yet this gift of perspective is truly essential for creating a kinder generation. Now turning to the fourth side, it represents global awareness. We live in a world today where everything can be publicized, anything from what you ate today at lunch or a research project on the water quality in the Gulf of Mexico. The sad part is that our social media-laden society is more concerned about avocado toast and the gallons of oil spilling into our waterways. The human race has never had to deal with problems like rising carbon dioxide levels or what the long-lasting effects of plastics could be until now. For young adults, I found it's almost too easy to be woke with social media as current events constantly go viral so much that actually putting down our phone to make a difference in our community is often rare. To combat this, my Saturday mornings are filled with beach cleanups and recycling old books with my friends to help build a longer lasting community. Global awareness is something that I am glad to be passionate about and able to get a head start on making that difference early. The fifth square is one that is near and dear to my heart: expression. We differentiate ourselves to other people by the way we express ourselves, our hair, makeup, and clothes, but most importantly, how we spend our time. Knitting and sewing have been long-term hobbies of mine that began to flourish in middle school, where I even started a knitting club in 6th grade with one of my teacher's friends and substitute teacher, Mrs. Tappan. She taught me and some of my friends the basics of knitting every Wednesday afternoon. From this stemmed the knitting projects that I literally couldn't put down. It even came to a point where my teachers had to take my needles from me during class. I began to knit blankets, headbands, even slippers. And when needles and yarn couldn't cover the ideas piling up in my head, I turned to my sewing machine to handle the more hefty projects that include backpacks, costumes, and clothes. Being able to have my own intriguing pastimes and being different taught me to embrace other people's interests too. Miss Tappan and I's friendship, as well as the 40-year age gap, also helped me to understand another perspective on how different ways of expression can bring wildly different people together. The final square is knowing where you'll fit best in a school. So many movies, books, and relatives told me that I needed to find a group in high school. For most people, that means a sport or club simply based upon mutual interests. But I disagree. I have met my strongest friends who have the opposite interests as me because I connected with them, following that gut feeling, knowing that they would bring out the best in me and share contrasting perspectives. I had that same instinctual gut feeling about Tulane as soon as I stepped on campus, and I say one has to follow their instincts because it has such a powerful voice, if we allow ourselves to hear it. There are many characteristics that make up a high school student's daily life, but these 6 are what mean the most to me.